From the NHRA Spring Nationals at Houston Raceway Park in Baytown, Texas, this is the award-winning car talk show in Wheel Time. Just ahead, guests from this weekend's super fast event out here at the drag strip. We'll review our featured car of the week, the BMW M5 competition. We've got your weekly cruise-in calendar. Conrad has This Week in Auto History. We've got stories making automotive news headlines, that and more. All just ahead on today's In Wheel Time car show. Thanks for joining us today. It's an extended show. We're going to go all the way till noon. Now we're kind of wishing we might not have gone all the way to noon because all of these guys are going to be out on the track.
I got to be somewhere.
Okay. Will you go there?
I'm going to be out there.
About there, okay. Yeah. I thought you'd be up at the bar by then.
Well,
howdy along with Mike out of this world Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin, Chief Engineer David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. Today's In Wheel Time is sponsored by Toyota, the official car of the NHRA. So our very special guest that we have here in the remote studio in the Top Eliminator Club out here at Houston Raceway Park has some very exciting news to tell us all. And I was absolutely thrilled to hear that Mr. Antron Brown is starting his own Top Fuel team for 2022.
Right.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, my God, how exciting is this?
Let me tell you something. It's exciting, but it's also, you're nervous. You know what I mean? Because it's the unknown. It's a new chapter that's in the page of my book right now. So with my family being behind me all these years, and also it's just, this has been in the works for a while. This is not something that's really brand new or new. I mean, this was something that we talked about at the beginning of literally 2020. You know what I mean? We came out and
been working on it for a while.
Yes. With Don Schumacher and Schumacher Racing and everybody there just building over all the years, and this was my next step, you know what I mean? And the coolest part is when you have people that support you and go, you know what, if that's what you want to do, this is your next step. And all of our partners from like Matco Tools, Toyota, Global Electronic Technology, Hankstafers, and all those people have been behind us full stream and bringing on Sirius XM radio. So it's been really, really cool to see the people that's like jumping in and saying, "Hey, we want to help you on this journey," because it is a journey, and we're not looking for a sprint, we're looking for a marathon. So we're going to start off and pace ourselves and take it all in, and we just want to do it right and move forward because this is the future of our sport at the end of the day, and that's what I look at is like, okay, people pass torches, you know what I mean? Kenny Bernstein was out here for a lot of years.
Yep.
Passed the torch on to another team. Then you had like all your other teams out here that passed the torch, like Don Perdome was out here passed the torch. Now Force became the mega teams, and Don Schumacher became the all-time winningest team out there in championships and everything else and Hall of Fames. And who's next in line? You know what I mean? So, well, that's what I'm trying to do. You know
and you couldn't have a better mentor as well.
Oh.
You know, to learn being in the team for so long, and I'm sure getting a lot of coaching and counseling from Mr. Schumacher about where you're going and what you're doing.
Well, and the other interesting part about it that I read is that Don is helping support you in your effort.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's behind you 100%. It's not as if you're picking up and moving your tent over it to the Antron Brown side. He's helping you, along with all these other people. But I think it's a testament to you, sir, as Antron Brown. Listen, you're one of the most loved guys on this circuit, and it's understandable. We all talk about you throughout the year when we're not the drag racing
appreciate
stuff.
that.
But really, I mean, you're kind of part of our family, and we are behind you all the way. We want you to be. We want you to be the best that there is to be out there.
And with that said, is there any room in your organization for in-wheel time?
Yes. You know, we're going to put a special spot
There's
right there.
There's always a room for a sticker on the car.
That's right, in-wheel time. Let's talk about
maintenance. It's called maintenance.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
exactly. You need somebody to wash the car or something.
It's a big tent. It's a big tent.
Yeah.
So where are you going to house the team? Are you still going to be in and around the Schumacher?
Yes, that's the game plan, without a doubt. And Don, if you've never been to Indy and you see his operation, you're talking about he has over 140,000 square foot underneath a roof.
Oh, wow.
It's massive.
It's a mega house. Like, you know, when you look at Don Schumacher, what he's established and what he's got, you know, he's kind of like the Roush Yates or the Joe Gibbs of NASCAR or Hendricks. That's what he is of drag racing. And he makes all the parts and pieces. He's got all this stuff there. And the coolest part is that Tasca is on the other end of it. Like, I saw the model from what Bob Tasca does. He leases space. He's in on the other stuff where they build his chassis, mount his bodies, from the blowers and everything else. He buys the cylinder heads, the blocks, the parts and pieces, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the same exact deal. We're going to be just another extension of it where we're able to buy the pieces, lean on it, but then we're going to still be off on our own to navigate our way with our partnerships and everything else and utilize what Toyota brings to the table, TRD, because that's the main focus of it is we're going to get all the opening of all the technology when we're off on our own, because at the end of the day, you look at our program right now, we race with Leah, Matt, Ron. Well, they're all Mopar cars, and I'm Toyota. So I'm kind of out here on the wing by myself anyway, like over here on this side, because we can't deviate or share stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when you're looking at that perspective, is now we're going to open up the doors and the floodgates with TRD, where they've always been supporting us, but we're going to have a living engineer that's on our team from TRD,
How
which
awesome
is
that?
pretty awesome.
That's cool.
And get access to some of their R&D in-house stuff as well.
Yes, well, you look what they've done for Coletta.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Coletta always had a very competitive team, but they're out there, they're running and winning championships. You get what I mean? Like I remember JR when he was riding the funny car, they was always there, but they always needed something extra to take them over that hump, and TRD brought that. They brought that and then some, and they became a dominant force, and now you're starting to see it with their dragsters. Like Coletta ran for a championship last year against Devo. He was leading the points lead, going back and forth. They're there. You know what I mean? So that's just a testament to what the TRD folks do.
They're very active. And I think that's great. Because you're talking about that's kind of what Toyota did in San Antonio when they built their truck plant. They brought all their suppliers in so that they didn't have to go anyplace. It's all right there. And that sounds like exactly what you're doing. I'm here. All my suppliers are here as well.
Absolutely. And you just look at the framework they did in NASCAR.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And how successful they've been there.
Exactly. They came out. They didn't hit the ground running. You know what I mean? Like it took them a way to build up, but once they figured it out, then it was like the gas pedal was mashed all the way down. Now they run and compete for championships each and every year.
Speaking of NASCAR, I read that Tony Stewart is working to get a license.
I think Tony's got enough run to have his license now. He's been putting some laps in.
Okay.
You could look at it on social media, on YouTube, on his own channel.
That's an interesting factor there.
Well,
he went 376 on his other run, at 324 miles an hour, 320, somewhere around there.
He ain't scared.
No. But Tony, you understand why he did what he did in any form of motorsports he drove, from dirt tracks to NASCAR to pavement to road courses to IndyCar. Yeah. The man is he's like a sponge. And when I went out there and I saw him making some laps and I was talking to him, what he recited to me, a lot of people think, he's just a driver. Don't realize how smart Tony Stewart is. Mm-hmm. Like, he is a student of the game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I blew my mind. I was like, this cat is sharp. You know what I mean?
Was that the first time you met him?
No. I've known Tony for years. I knew him from when he drove NASCAR. Like, me and him always had a unique relationship where we always talked on and off and stuff like that. And he's always been a big game changer. You know what I mean? Like, people don't understand. He's a really cool dude when you get to know him, but he is a fierce competitor. Yeah. He wants to compete at the highest level. And when he puts his helmet on, he turns into a gladiator.
Well, it's funny because we were just talking about that very thing before you showed up about, we're sitting here talking to you now as if you're my next door neighbor, best friend.
Yes.
But you put that helmet on, you get inside that car, and it's a whole different world for you.
Oh, absolutely.
And every driver out there at this level.
Absolutely. And a lot of people, see me because they always see me smiling, and I'm always out there going because I have fun whatever I do. But don't get it twisted. When I put my helmet on, you do not want to line up against me or on the other side of me because I don't care who you are. I don't care where you come from. I don't care what it don't make a difference. It's like when you line up against me, you are my number one enemy. Like, you're trying to steal my lunch money. I haven't eaten lunch for all week. You follow what I mean?
Do you say bad words to yourself in the helmet when no one can hear?
No. Like the funny part is, I don't never say bad words. Like, if I get frustrated at myself, I'm just mad at myself. It's like the feeling is in there. I don't have to say a word to show how frustrated I am. Like it don't make a difference how loud I yell or if I cuss inside my helmet. It doesn't change the feeling inside.
Yeah.
And that's always been my fuel to drive me. Like, no matter how the weekend goes, I'm the worst critic on myself, where I look at things and I say, you know what, this could have been better. The team could have been better here. I could have been better here. We all should have been better here. And I look at things, and every weekend's a growing process for me.
I keep telling Don that. That's the philosophy we need to have him.
And as long as it's constructive like that, then that's a good thing. And as long as everybody understands that, yeah, that's right. It's getting better, and that's how you get to the level that you are, is with that drive to figure out how can I be better.
Oh, absolutely. And just to go off that, the hardest thing for me is that I see people all the time that they could beat themselves up over and over again. Okay, well, beating yourself up over and over again, that's not going to fix the problem.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it's like I don't cry over spilled milk. I just go like this, okay, and then I move forward. And when I go home, I go, okay, this is where I'm weak at. I got to work on this.
Yeah.
How do I fix it?
How do I avoid spilling the milk next time?
Yeah.
Exactly, because what I tell a lot of people all the time, I go, when you show up for a race, you might get lucky and win a race. Okay, you can get lucky. Okay, but luck is not going to have you winning over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Get you to a championship.
Absolutely. And for me, I said the only thing that you do Monday through Thursday is work on your craft, because when you come to the racetrack, you're not going to make no miracle happen. You're only showcasing the work that you put in Monday through Thursday. Right. That's it. It's simple. It's nothing magical. It's just you're just showcasing your work to everybody that you're going against. That's it.
Outside of this sport, what do you do for fun? What is your fun place to go to? What do you do? You
want to hear something funny? My fun place, honestly, is when I get home, like, I go racing with my kids, and it's just being around the family.
Yeah.
It's seeing my kids and my family. I like putting them in situations where they elevate. That's my fun place, is being around them, joking, cutting up jokes, and just seeing the quirky stuff that they do.
They're also in the sport as well.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And some of the other fun things I do is, like, to be honest with you, is like I play in a church league at home in basketball. I really enjoy that because I'm an old guy, but I try to keep up with the young bucks.
How does that work out for you?
It works out. It works out fine right now. They're looking at me, and a lot of them think I'm 25 years old, and I'm like, no, man, I'm 45. They're like, what? And they look at me like, you're 45? I'm like, yeah. He goes, I can't keep up with you.
None of us could be in that league.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What year did you start professional drag racing when you started the bikes?
In 98.
In
98.
Wow.
I was 21 years old when I started.
And
Yes.
what moved you to go to bikes?
Well, for me, you mean from when I went to motorcycles, I grew up on motorcycles.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize that I rode dirt bikes since I was 4 and raced motocross since I was about 10 years old.
I did not know that either.
I grew up on dirt bikes. I didn't have junior dragsters when I was a kid.
Right.
Like, literally, when I was, like, in 94, junior dragsters were just coming out. I was graduating high school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, you were beyond that
Yeah.
at that point.
In between, yeah.
Exactly. So I was just at the very end of it when it came out, and that just literally just came out. You know what I mean? That was just like exhibition at Englishtown, New Jersey with the Knapp family.
Right.
So for me, it was like I was this motorcycles. That's the only cheapest form for me to drag race. My dad and uncle had their sportsman cars. They had like a Super Comp, a Roadster that they raced with a Roadster back then. That was before Super Comp turned to dragsters. People had like long Roadsters, or they had Roadsters that they raced Super Comp with, and then a full body car they raced Super Gas with, like with their Vega. Then it went from the Roadsters and turned to dragsters. You know what I mean? That's what everybody started making. That tells you
The
that
old
age
rails,
frame.
yeah.
That they went to dragsters for Super Comp. So then, for me, when I was growing up, I said, well, I'm going to go out. My dad and them going to drag strip. How am I going to go drag strip? So got a street bike. My dad and them used to have street bikes. My dad used to drag race motorcycles because it was the cheapest way to go fast.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you could build an 8-second motorcycle and have like a couple grand in it. To build an 8-second race car, you got like 50 grand in it.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
You follow what I mean? It's a big difference.
And it was also easier to transport the team with a bike and a small trailer versus some of the stuff everybody needs today.
Not necessarily team yourself and maybe your wife.
A couple of three people.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, I mean, I can remember I was a kid just out of high school going to college. So my bike, I could run like I could run low 9s on it, and I drove it to the racetrack.
Yeah.
I didn't drive to school. I didn't drive to school because it wasn't that type of bike, but I could drive it to the racetrack and back and forth.
Yeah, the other thing, it didn't break as much as an 8-second car would
No.
after you spend $50,000 on it, if you could get to 8 seconds.
Absolutely.
So how did you
absolutely.
knock on the door to get on the pro bike tour?
Well, the funniest part of it is my cousin, Tommy, she married an NFL football player named Troy Vincent, who played for the Miami Dolphins, and he played his whole career for the Philadelphia Eagles, defensive back. Now the crazy part is Troy, you're talking about having a great mentor for me to grow up in the sport. Troy is now the vice president of the NFL under Roger Goodell.
Oh, wow.
He's the senior executive vice president of all the NFL.
How cool is that?
So Troy, the unique thing about Troy is that he just wasn't a player. He was a student off the field, and he was very smart, business savvy, always carried himself well, talked well. Because he used to be the president of the Players Union before he became the VP of the NFL. So Troy, he was in motorcycles. So he started the race team. It was called Team 23, which was his football number. And it had the colors of the Eagles in it, like, you know what I mean, like that emerald sparkly green.
Right.
And I was one of his first riders. And Tony Mullins out of Florida was the second team. And Harry Lartigue, that's here from Houston.
Right.
Harry Lartigue, he was a partner with Troy. So we had a 2-bike team. And it was Team 23. So it was Harry with his rider Tony, and it was Troy with me under here, and we had 2 bikes.
Okay.
And that's how it got started.
That's how it all got started. And I came out, and I was in college, and I just got done with a junior college, got my associate degree in business administration. I was going to my 4-year school. And I had a call. I'll never forget, I called my track coach, Chris Carter, at the time and said, Chris, man, I said, Mr. Chris, I said, I'm not going to school. He goes, what? You got a full ride? And you picked this school over all the other schools. I could have went to a lot of different colleges for my last 2 years in track and field. And I go, no, I'm not going to another school. I'm going drag racing. Because you're going to throw away your college scholarship. You know what I mean?
To go drag racing.
To go drag race. I go, yeah. And then it's so funny that my old coach from Mercer that I went to school with in New Jersey, he goes, AB, I can't believe you do that as scholarship, but it worked out for you okay.
You're going to go fast, but not running.
Have you been back in contact with Coach Chris?
No, I haven't talked to Coach Chris Carter in a while because me and him didn't develop, like we had a good relationship because that's the school I was going to go to, but I never got there to really work with him.
He was ticked that he left.
He was hot because I was pretty much his number one prospect coming in because in junior college I was ranked number 1 in the whole country for a 55-meter indoor dash.
Oh, gosh.
And I ran 10.3, like 10 threes and 10 fours in 100 meters.
Now you're doing 3.5 seconds.
So like I was a big prospect to go to his college to do it, like a Division I college, and I was like, man, I could have went to Temple, I could have went to Penn, University of Penn.
There you go again.
I could have did everything, and it was like,
Can't take you anywhere.
what you
Now
doing? Where you
have
going?
all these world championship trophies to show them as well. We talked a few seconds ago about NASCAR. You guys had a visit from some of the NASCAR teams, and I know you had Bubba Wallace, and I watched his expression on the show when he was on the track, and he was kind of sitting between the two of you guys when you lit up. Are you going to get an opportunity to go for a wild ride in one of the NASCAR cars?
Well, the crazy part, I didn't get to do the ride share with them yet, but I did a ride share years ago with Martin Truex.
Okay.
Oh.
So I actually ride with Martin Truex. Me and him are pretty tight, and then he got to sit in our car. I took him down the strip in a 2-seater Super Comp car, but I want to get him in our car where he could do a burnout and at least launch it on his own. And they'll be able to do it, but just so they can really see the experience.
Feel the power.
Feel it, because Tony Stewart's doing it, so it's really raising eyebrows.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of this interest from our brothers.
I was going to say
from our
Toyota
members.
family.
Yes, from our brothers and our Toyota athletes, and to do that mix. And I think that'll be a perfect mix.
Cool. That'd be pretty cool.
It'll be a lot of fun because I like circle track racing, and I drive myself. Drove go-karts, drove in some circle track cars. I did some late model stuff, some dirt car stuff, so that's right in my wheelhouse too. But I like to get them in that straight line.
Yeah,
With
like
10,000
if you
horsepower.
launch it, that to me is where that would be where the big experience is. I mean, at the other end, 200 miles an hour is 200 miles an hour, but getting from there that fast to 200
Or a sub 1 second,
I
60
can't
foot
imagine.
kind of.
Well, when you go from 0 to 100 miles an hour in 0.8 of a second, it gets your attention.
Exactly.
But the hardest part is to get them to understand that's not where the ride is. It ain't the launch. Everybody always thinks the launch because they think of a normal aspirated car. The way it sets you back is when you get 550 feet down the racetrack and your clutch goes 1-to-1. When you're doing 290 miles an hour, like you're right at 300 at half track, the clutch goes 1-to-1, the G meter goes over 6 Gs. So you pull more Gs going
half track.
Like a half track when the clutch goes 1-to-1 where you're already doing 290 miles an hour than you did from going from 0 to 100.
Don,
so
we need
0
to
to
try
100,
that.
you're at 3.8 Gs. And the G meter progressively goes up. So the real ride is when you're doing 290 and the clutch goes 1-to-1.
Yeah.
Because you're like this, and you're like, oh, I can't pull no harder because you're literally about 4.2 Gs, and then the clutch goes 1-to-1, and it goes, bow, and then the G meter goes straight up over 6 Gs, and the car arches up and it snaps up off the ground, and then it feels like it's just trying to stay on the ground, but it's not. It's just hovering.
Yeah, and you see the middle of the chassis
Yes,
kind of bow up.
and that's when you start seeing them wiggle around because they're literally trying to come off the ground.
Wiggling around at 290 miles an hour
isn't that
with
a built-in-
Antron Brown. Sounds like a TV show.
Isn't that design, though? It's a design for that to do for stress?
It's designed, I want to say it's designed to do that because what's really happening is that when the car is arching up, a lot of people goes, oh, it's getting more traction that way. It's not getting more traction that way. What's happening is the back wing is getting so much aero on it for downforce, is pushing the tires down the ground to back. So the tires look D-shaped, like they're getting pressed in, right? The front end, the only reason why it's arching up is because the front wing is putting all the downforce to hold the front tires down, and they're only long for the ride. So what they're doing is going like this, and the back end of the car is really trying to break the chassis and run underneath of it. You get what I mean?
Right.
It's trying to pull everything up.
So it's trying to go like this, and that's why when you saw
Leah
Dixon and Leah's car, when they have a chassis fail, they snap, and the car goes straight up in the air like that because the back end is trying to go like that. That's what it's trying to do. It's just like the car is not meant to do that. Like, we engineer it, and we're coming out with more fail-safes. We're changing some chassis specs for next year. We're going with bigger wall tubing and everything to make it so it can't let go like that.
But the things that you learned from Leah's failure last year, 2 years ago, that's what advances the sport as well and the safety of the sport.
They're always on that edge of advancing it, but when you have a shortfall, when something goes wrong like that, and a lot of it wasn't just a chassis failing, it's just the way the directional attitude of the car was, and then at the same time hitting bumps.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? And it calls it to twist up.
There's several effects
And
hit
then,
at the right
like,
time.
it just did everything just happened right for it to do it. You know what I mean?
How's
but we
the
want to
track
fix
here?
it.
How's the track here for you?
The track, we went and walked it yesterday. It was wet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yesterday,
no kidding.
but when I walked down the track, the asphalt looks awesome. I remember when they first put the asphalt in, it was real porous. It wasn't filled in. It's all filled in. The concrete looks really, really nice where they got it ground. So it looks, this track here, it's got some character to it. But I think it's going to be good. If the weather stays right, we'll be able to run hard and fast on it.
And for you, the asphalt is where the clutch is coming in 1-to-1, where that second acceleration happens. So that's even more important.
Top Fuel rain tires.
Yes, well,
Goodyear
Aqua Treads. but the thing of it is that was the problem. Like years ago when they put that asphalt in, this track was tricky. It was very, very, very tricky because the asphalt, it was brand new, and it wouldn't take the rubber in because the oil in it.
Right.
It's been dried out seasoned, and when it dries out, then the rubber applies. So that's why concrete's always better than asphalt. Asphalt's good, but you got to let it get seasoned in.
It's not bumpy, is it?
No, it's got some little chatters, but they have grinded and took care of the bumps out there. Like if you look at the track, you can see where they did a lot of work to it, even on the transition, where they even made the transition smooth.
Trying to flatten it out.
Yes.
You have to go.
Yes. Yes.
So you go. We thank you so much for stopping by. It's a pleasure.
Always.
And, I guess next year when we see you, it'll be the Antron Brown team.
Yes. It'll be AB Motorsports. So thank you guys for that. Say a lot of prayers for us because we're going to need them.
Always good.
We love you, man.
Thank you. Love y'all too. Thank you.
Take care of yourself. Antron Brown, our guest here in our remote studio at Houston Raceway Park. Thank you again. It's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
And we'll have some more drivers coming our way here in the not too distant future. It's real difficult. It's been because of the rain. There's been such a change in all of the schedules, including all of the race schedules.
That's awesome. He just stops with everybody, gets a selfie.
Of course.
He's
Absolutely.
so loved.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
That's cool.
All right. So at any rate, they're going to. What did I do with my sheet of paper? So 10:30 this morning is going to be pro stock, and then at noon they're going to run. They're going to run the fuel cars. So right after pro stock, then
Somebody
they'll run
with a big loud
Yeah,
one's
it's
out there
9:30
right now.
and somebody didn't get the memo.
So you see, I had all of this prepared, and I didn't read a word of it because I got so excited when he showed up. I didn't have time to go through all of the Antron Brown stuff. But there's the huge
what a guy.
story.
Yeah, but he carries the conversation just
Exactly.
fine.
Yeah, we don't.
Just ask him a question. He's a wealth of information that's so
Incredible.
well rounded.
You ask him what time it is, and he'll invention
Pretty
the
much,
clock. Yeah.
But a great driver, and we're going to work on qualifying today. There are 2 rounds of qualifying scheduled. They've moved the first round up, trying to avoid rain. And, that's not unusual for the NHRA to do that. If there's a chance of rain, they want to make sure, as Seth Angel said when we first went on the air, to try to get both rounds of qualifying in today, despite the chance of rain. And I have to tell you, I am glad to see all of the people that are still coming out despite the chance of rain.
There's been a steady line of people I'm watching back here as well.
Yeah, the window there is where they come through the ticket booth.
Yes.
And you can just see a steady stream.
Yeah. So, and somebody was asking, he came up earlier and said, listen, when did the sportsmen race? Well, the sportsmen aren't racing. See, this is the schedule that I had, and I printed this out days ago. Guess what?
Useless.
Useless.
The one I got at 6 o'clock yesterday.
Well,
is useless.
the purpose is to get the all of the pro events in. So with that, they've the sportsman racing, because they start Thursday and go on Friday. All of that ended up getting canceled because the weather was so bad.
Well, yeah, and not only that, but you have to understand. I mean, there is a lot of pavement out here, and the pavement is reserved for the pros. Back behind the pros is where the sportsmen park. And on the other side,
it's a little muddy at the moment.
It is. And so why exacerbate the problem and have all of these sportsman racers dragging the mud up into the staging lanes?
Exactly.
Thank you for that. So actually the weather is looking pretty good. And I noticed that it's getting lighter outside.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
And sun's coming out.
The mess that is
it's daytime
out in the Gulf of Mexico has decided to go down.
Elsewhere.
Yeah,
well,
elsewhere.
we are in the dry slot right here through Baytown.
We are in the dry slot. By the way,
hashtag dry slot.
Before I miss this, I wanted to mention to you.
Say
I don't know
hi
whether
to Stan and Sheila. They're watching.
Hi, Stan and Sheila.
Hello.
Thank you all for watching. Wish you were here.
Yeah.
Did I say
Yeah.
that?
Okay.
Mazda is dropping the CX-3 crossover and the Mazda 6 sedan.
Oh,
Really?
What?
Yeah,
I love that Mazda 6.
I do too.
A good-looking car.
The only problem with Mazdas is their infotainment system. They really, really need to do something with that because
I like Mazda too.
it is absolutely the pits to try to understand it. I guess once you get
and you guys get to drive all of them.
All
and
of them.
The thing I've learned by listening to you talk about them is how quickly you can learn the system in the week or so you have the car. Some of them you're real good with right off the bat. Others, you haven't figured it out after a week later in the car, and I imagine Mazda was one of those.
well, I'm going to have the BMW M5 review, and that's one that you'll be interested to hear.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you, my KK. Yes.
Hello,
All right,
Katie.
it's time to take a quick break. So we're going to do that. Again, we're coming to you from Houston Raceway Park and the NHRA Spring Nationals out here, and we appreciate you joining us today. So quick break now, and we'll be right back. So stay with us.
Houstonian-owned Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has the most sought-after models in the Houston area today. When you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, you now have a place to go. General Manager Lincoln Stahl guarantees Bayway will beat any competitor's written price on the new vehicle you choose or pay you $1,000. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is easy to get to on Highway 225 near Beltway 8 in Pasadena. Whether it's online or in person, you're welcome like one of the family. Bayway Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.com. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, June 19th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free, and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupe Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupe founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, June 19th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. The Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday morning, June 19th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupe's in Katy. Inside the Loop, visit Tailpipes and Tacos on the Southwest Freeway at Shepherd, weather permitting.
NHRA Camping World Drag Racing. It's an 11,000 horsepower Nitro Rodeo coming to Houston Raceway Park in Baytown. Catch all the Nitro and Pro Stock action at the Mopar Express Lane NHRA Spring Nationals presented by Pennzoil this weekend. Matt Hagan, Leah Pruitt, Erica Enders, 3-time world champ Steve Torrance, and 16-time himself John Force. Kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Get tickets at HoustonRaceway.com. Houston's got horsepower.
Don't miss the first ever Houston Summer Auto Show, May 19th through the 23rd at NRG Center. A limited edition collection of your favorite brands and models, including the new Ford Bronco and Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Tickets online only at HoustonAutoShow.com.